I am the Namer, guardian of the names of power. Before your world even existed, my people were an ancient race. Now they are gone, and only I remain, keeper of my people's history. Across the endless tracts of space have I traveled, to return to the planet of my birth, Zoidstar. Though my people perished long ago, and their cities were buried by the shifting sands, the machines remain. It is these that have brought me here to perform the last act of the Zoidarian race, the giving of the names of power. When my race was young and had an interest in the affairs of the galaxy, they built the machines, mighty engines of destruction which gave the power of life and death over the other creatures in the galaxy. The Zoidarians turned their gaze outward and laid waste to 1,000 star systems with their machines, their Zoids. But ruling a galaxy was not enough for the Zoidarians. It was not the conquests, but the battles they enjoyed. And though all intelligent life trembled in the shadow of the Zoids, my people battled on, machine against machine, Zoidarian against Zoidarian, in the further pursuit of glory. Zoidarian lives were needlessly sacrificed to the god of battle, and the race dwindled in numbers until the elders outlawed the Zoid duels. But they couldn't outlaw the Zoidarian love of combat. The Zoidarian pilots of the giant war machines were replaced by androids, and thus the heroic combat could continue without threat to Zoidarian life. Too late came the order. Too late to save a once mighty race from extinction, and now only I remain. Only I and the Zoids. And though my people created the Zoids, I have no power to control them. For the war machines have become the living embodiment of the Zoidarian thirst for combat, with lives and wills of their own. They exist only to fight, to ensure that their heroic combat lasts for all eternity. Now I stand on the sand-blasted surface of a world I used to call home, high on a rock, scanning the horizon for some sign of movement, knowing that out there, behind the sand clouds, lurk the deadliest war machines in the universe. It begins!
Empire launches its great push. Mass invasion overseas in ambush. We must build new Zoids to combat this threat. Hellic Republic development set. Boasting the new E-Shield technology, these new Zoids will lead the Hellic army. With blue armor, thick and lion design form, the Shieldliger Zoids will bring the war storm. Shieldligers, mighty blue lion machines. Shieldligers, built for floods and needless war seas. Shieldligers, cybernetic beasts of war. Shieldligers, face the Empire Zoids and roar. The Xenobus army advances now, but Shieldligers will face them, this we vow. With sharp steel fangs and claws they rip and rend. The terrified Empire Zoids meet their end. But as the war goes on, our foes improve. With the new Mark II Zoids they find their groove. Shieldligers must evolve to remain great, reborn as the Shieldliger Mark II's fate. Shieldligers, mighty blue lion machines. Shieldligers, built for floods and needless war seas. Shieldligers, cybernetic beasts of war. Shieldligers, face the Empire Zoids and roar. With leaping cannons, the new Zoids excel. Shieldliger Mark IIs bring fresh Zoid war hell. With these Zoids, our victory is assured. The Zenith's Empire war plague is cured. Shieldligers, mighty blue lion machines. Shieldligers, built for floods and Neva's war sea. Shieldligers, cybernetic beasts of war. Shieldligers, face the Empire Zoids and roar. Shieldligers, mighty blue lion machines. Shieldligers, built for floods and Neva's war sea. Shieldligers, cybernetic beasts of war. Shieldligers, face the Empire Zoids and roar. Zoids excel. With the new Mark IIs bring fresh Zoid war hell. With these Zoids our victory is assured. The Zenith's Empire war plague is cured. Shieldliger, mighty blue lion machine. Shieldliger, a planet Zoidstar, the blue Zoids face collapse. The Guardian army reduced to scraps. With their machine leaders now they must act. Fire up the blue Zoid factories, contact! New Zoids must be built to replace our lost. But fate intervenes to leave wires crossed. These renegades don't obey or follow. Their vile machine spirits are hollow, hollow. Shieldliger, blue lion monster machine. Shieldliger, renegade beast of sea. Shieldliger, forces deal with cyber soul. Shieldliger, cybernetic feline hole. Shieldliger, blue lion monster machine. Shieldliger, cool renegade beast of sea. Shieldliger, forces deal with cyber soul. Shieldliger, cybernetic feline hole. A failed design, the renegade Zoids, savage and uncontrollable beast droids, vicious monster machines with no reason. Their mere existence is pure steel treason. Shieldliger prowls Zoidstar like a terror. His cybernetic mind coded in error. With laser guns and rockets he now hunts. Shieldliger makes snarls, roars, howls and grunts. Shieldliger, blue lion monster machine. Shieldliger, renegade beast of sea. Shieldliger,
time full of wonder. Without war, hate, and enemy. Now you can dance rolling thunder, and the magic that's no longer free. In the night I feel them calling from far beyond the sea. Soon comes the time of destruction, where the war began to rise. Weapons with multiple functions. There's no place where you can stay alright. In the night I hear them coming, marching towards cities. And soon the bombs are falling, but still we hope for peace. What's wrong?
It is the never-ending battle between red and blue Zoids. It has been waged for centuries. It rages still, with no end in sight.
The Namer, last of the Zoidarians, guardian of the names of power, keeper of the legend of heroic combat, have spoken.
Once was a time full of wonder.